Imagine sitting in a quiet living room, watching the pendulum of a clock swing back and forth. You and a group of strangers are waiting in complete silence for the stroke of midnight. Because at midnight, according to your leader, the world is going to end. To understand why anyone would believe this, we have to look at headlines from the 1950s. The threat of nuclear war dominated daily life, creating a constant underlying dread that made people desperate for any promise of salvation. The people in that room had fully committed to that promise. In the weeks leading up to this night, many had abandoned their careers, emptied their bank accounts, and watched as their earthly possessions were loaded into moving trucks. Then the clock strikes 12. The sky remains completely silent. The prophecy has officially, undeniably failed. Logic suggests these people would immediately admit they had been scammed. Instead, the group doubled down. They concluded that their intense faith had actually spared the planet. The failed prediction didn't break their belief. It was twisted into proof of their success. This event leaves us with a strange mystery. When human beings are faced with undeniable proof that they are completely wrong, why do we so often walk away convinced that we are actually right? That bizarre reaction is driven by an invisible force operating inside every human brain. You have almost certainly experienced it. Think about a time you bought an expensive smartphone, only to realize it performed no better than the cheaper alternative. Rather than admitting you wasted your cash, your brain started pointing out its premium look and build quality, defending a terrible purchase to make it feel worth the money. The stakes get much higher than consumer electronics. That same mental reflex keeps people pouring money into a failing business venture, or traps them in toxic relationships for years, simply because admitting the truth feels too painful. Before we analyze why our brains are wired to reject reality, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to The Explainer for more investigations into human behavior. Understanding this invisible force explains why highly intelligent people routinely reject plain facts. The psychologist who first documented this doomsday cult in the 1950s was Festinger. He wanted to know exactly what happens inside our heads when reality collides with our convictions. What he discovered became one of the most powerful theories in behavioral science, cognitive dissonance, a principle that is now informally known as Festinger's law. The mechanism works like this. Imagine your brain trying to hold two completely contradictory thoughts at the exact same time. For instance, the belief, I am a careful financial planner, colliding with the fact, I just wasted a large amount of money. When these two opposing ideas meet, they create severe psychological tension. The beliefs cannot comfortably coexist, resulting in a deep mental discomfort. Your brain treats this cognitive tension like a critical error code. It completely bypasses objective truth, prioritizing one single goal above all else: clear the error and remove the discomfort. To clear that tension, the subconscious mind relies on three distinct strategies, or fixes. The first fix is changing the behavior. If someone believes smoking is deadly, but they currently smoke, they can simply decide to quit. The action now matches the belief, and the tension is gone. The second fix involves changing the belief. A person might keep smoking, but rewrite their internal reality, convincing themselves that the medical studies are exaggerated and the habit isn't actually that harmful. The third fix is justifying the contradiction. The smoker acknowledges the massive health risks, but creates a specific exception, arguing that their grandfather smoked every day and lived to be 90. You notice that 2 out of those 3 fixes have nothing to do with reality. They are purely self-deceptions, designed to trick the brain back into a state of psychological harmony. You might assume that a high IQ protects a person from falling into this trap. In reality, highly intelligent individuals possess the vocabulary and mental agility to generate incredibly sophisticated rationalizations. Because they can argue their way out of a logical corner, they are often more susceptible to self-deception, not less. Scale that up to a societal level, and you see Festinger's law everywhere. Political debates rarely involve the objective evaluation of evidence. Instead, political beliefs merge with tribal identity, meaning a challenge to a policy feels like a direct attack on the person. Modern social media platforms have weaponized this biological quirk. Algorithms reward engagement by constantly feeding us information that aligns with our pre-existing views. These platforms act as dissonance reduction engines, building echo chambers so effective that the moment an opposing fact appears, our immediate reflex is total rejection rather than careful reflection. Living in a constant state of dissonance carries severe hidden costs. We stay in dead-end careers, we repeat identical financial errors, and sacrifice opportunities for growth. The universe operates on a harsh rule: reality always wins. We can choose to adapt to the facts willingly right now, or we will be forced to adapt to them later when the consequences hit. The only cure for Festinger's law is actively building a high tolerance for psychological discomfort. You have to practice sitting with the tension of being incorrect. The next time you find yourself aggressively defending a decision, pause and ask yourself a very specific question. Am I protecting the truth, or am I just protecting my ego? If this video made you rethink a recent decision, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you content that challenges how you see the world. True wisdom isn't the ability to perfectly prove yourself right. It is the willingness to be perfectly comfortable with the possibility that you might be wrong.